Hello, this is Dan Predpall, President of Successful Consultant Training. The purpose of this DVD is to present a brief overview of SCT's professional development program for consulting firms, which consists of 12 approximately 90-minute training modules. I began my consulting career in the mid-1970s and have held just about every position at large consulting firms before deciding to found a few small firms on my own. In the early 1980s, while still cutting my teeth in consulting, I was pursuing an MBA degree at New York University. I took a course in statistics, and it turned out that it was taught by none other than Professor W. Edwards Deming, likely the most successful consultant in the 20th century, as measured by accomplishments. He became my mentor and taught me a lot about consulting. His ideas are sprinkled throughout our training modules. This slide shows the 12 training modules that we provide in our professional development series. Out of the 12 training modules we offer, 7 of them are focused on marketing. Why? Because in my experience, this is where you get your biggest bang for the buck. Consultants are typically weaker in marketing as opposed to the more technical areas. Small improvements in marketing can make a big difference in output. Our training modules have a good mix of theory and actionable techniques. Our primary goal is to get you to think about what you do and why you do it, to challenge your current thinking and suggest alternatives. Looking at this slide, we're striving for breakout success or real improvement in performance. Consultants love to learn. When their skills and knowledge are increased, they tend to grow, and that growth will translate into improved office performance as well. Next, we'll provide an overview of the marketing modules that we call B1 through B7. Now, our training in marketing begins with SCT's complete marketing model. I couldn't think of a better name for this model, so I used complete, an alternative spelling, just to make it sound a little bit different. You might say that this is a 360-degree view of marketing for consultants. We look at marketing from every angle to optimize your results. The complete marketing model is composed of 2 parts or dimensions: systems and content. By systems, we mean the steps or tasks or processes conducted in marketing, such as lead generation or writing a proposal. And by content, we mean what we do within or inside these steps. Nothing will happen in a process, for example, lead capture, until some activity takes place in that process. This is what we call content. We teach that marketing must be viewed in terms of a systems approach, and there's many advantages to this that we'll discuss. This slide shows a simplified marketing system with 3 subsystems. Of course, there are many more subsystems or processes within marketing, as you'll see. This slide shows a more detailed marketing system. It has 3 parts. A refers to target market selection, B refers to lead generation, and C refers to lead conversion. Next, we break down the box in red, lead generation, further. Here we show the lead generation system. Next, we break down the lead nurturing subsystem shown in red. And here we show a more detailed view of the lead nurturing system. So marketing can be subdivided into many subsystems or processes. There's many advantages of this approach. We'll discuss this in detail in our training modules. Now we describe the content part of the complete marketing model. Content represents the activities conducted within each process. This slide depicts a consultant and a prospect having a conversation. Now, admittedly, you have to use your imagination a bit here. The content is shown as psychology, value proposition from the perspective of the consultant and the prospect, positioning, and persona. We'll touch on each of these briefly. Now, this slide also shows the content part of the complete marketing model. Once again, there's 4 dimensions: psychology, value proposition, positioning, and persona. This once again represents the 360-degree view of marketing for consultants. Okay, let's take a look at the first part of the content called Psychology of Persuasion. Now this overly complex slide summarizes what I call the emotional marketing process, or EMP. The point here is that we need to persuade a prospect using a certain sequence of actions and a certain number of actions. In other words, you must prepare the prospect for your offer before you present that offer. Next, we'll look at the 3 actions on the right of this slide. We can look at persuasion as having 2 dimensions, desire and conviction. Desire relates more to material or tangible things like increased revenues or completing a construction project on time, whereas conviction deals with the prospect's emotional security or the need to have a feeling of stability and calm. And we can plot conviction against desire. A plot like this tells us a lot. We want to be in the northeast quadrant. Buy now from you. So how do we get there? By increasing desire and increasing conviction. We provide a number of ways to increase desire and conviction in our training modules. Also, we discuss the important concept of psychological influence. A simple example is the concept of scarcity. When something is scarce, we want it more. We discuss how to use 15 different influencers in your proposals and sales letters. Now on to part 2 of the content part of the complete marketing model, the value proposition. And in my experience, consultants don't truly understand the importance and the benefits of carefully crafting a value proposition for use in marketing and sales. We begin our discussion of the value proposition by defining the term value. For example, there's 4 dimensions of value: technical value, relative value, economic value, and the prospect's term of value, and we show how to use them in your marketing. Now this slide shows my value proposition formula, or template, and we teach how to use this equation to formulate a convincing value proposition. Now we move to part 3, positioning, in the content part of the complete marketing model. And we look at positioning in 2 different ways. First, create an image or brand or identity that of you, the consultant, and your market niche in the prospect's mind. You want to do this before your first meeting with the prospect. Otherwise, you must create your image or brand at the meeting in addition to accomplishing your primary objectives. And we can do this in a variety of ways, such as using authority, demonstrating your credibility, and expressing who we are and what we do. Second, we can prepare the prospect to hear your offer by using several statements in the form of supporting evidence for our offer that will be accepted or believed by the prospect, setting him up to purchase your offer. In summary, positioning is the preparation we undertake prior to making our offer or describing our solution to the prospect's problem. We do this in an attempt to convince the prospect of the worthiness of our offer. You could also call this a pre-sell. And finally, on to part 4 of the content called persona, or more simply, personality. Every person, every consultant, has a unique personality that can be used to differentiate him or her from the competition. By persona, we mean how the prospect sees you, the consultant. The idea here is to apply your dominant traits, your dominant personality traits, your natural personality in your marketing. Doing this gives you a distinct advantage. Well, we've spent a lot of time on marketing so far. However, let's look at one more aspect, that of proposals and presentations. This slide shows SCT's proposal success equation. After writing literally hundreds of proposals over the years, I've developed this equation as a guide. To win, you must get the attention of the prospect, demonstrate value, educate the prospect, persuade the prospect, and reduce the anxiety of purchase. We discuss each of these terms in our Preparation of Winning Proposals training module. We also have a module devoted solely to winning presentations. One more slide on marketing. This slide shows a storyboard layout for a presentation. I've used this layout for many times and have won a vast majority of the jobs I proposed for. Unfortunately, we don't have the time here to expand on this concept. All I can say is that R in A stands for results in advance, a cool concept, and VP is a value proposition. C to A, call to action. We have 2 training modules on the topic of client service strategies. They cover various topics including project management, service innovation, and how to keep your clients for life. One subject we cover I call the 2X strategy. This strategy is used in your planning cycle annually, and it helps your staff think out of the box. I've used this strategy many times with very good results. Another topic in the client strategies section is how consultants communicate with their clients. We talk about 3 different communication methods that can be used under different circumstances to improve the effectiveness of communicating with your clients. And we have a section on creativity and innovation. Innovating new service offerings is critical to your success. However, how much time do you devote to this important task? And how do you do it? We cover that in our module. Finally, we have 2 modules on problem solving and decision making. Few consultants have received training on this subject, even though their primary job often involves solving problems for their clients. We'll fix that. We cover all 9 steps in the consultant's problem solving framework shown on this slide. The framework is comprised of 3 sections or parts: problem initiation, problem analysis, and solution development. We explore each of these 9 steps in our training module on problem solving. With respect to making decisions, we describe what I call my 3 secret ingredients to successful decision making. And they are identifying problem objectives, generating alternative solutions, and selecting the best or optimal solution. We'll show you how to do that. Well, that was a really fast overview of our 12 consultant training modules. We attempted to address all of the key skills that consultants need to be successful in these 12 modules. I'd like to make one more point before we conclude. Our training modules are comprised of both what I would call traditional training that consultants receive while in consulting firms. And recall that I've spent 25 years in large consulting firms, so I understand the training. And many marketing and other techniques and methods used successfully in other industries I've translated for use by consultants, and you'll not see this mix of training anywhere else. So here's our contact information. Thanks for taking the time to watch this DVD and learn about our professional development training program for consulting firms. I am confident that our training will make a difference in your office.